for 30 minutes tonight about events. And I am so, like I said before, I'm so excited to talk to you about events because I love events. Well, let me rephrase that. I love working my business, whether it's in an event or at a home party. I'm kind of in my zone, and it's really my thing. But doing events, there's the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. And so Casey and I really wanted to make sure that everybody understood what are some of the strategies and things you could be doing at events to really maximize them. So let me start by saying how to find good events, because not all events are created equal, right? If you've tried to do events before, you might, whoa, Stephanie just turned into Jess, and Jess, oh, you guys are there. It's together. I was like, they have the same wallpaper. How did that happen? Should have known. So there are good events and bad events, right? So you can sign up for the, shop other vendor event at the VFW and pay $20 or $30 for that. But more than likely, it's going to be vendors shopping other vendors, right? And if you've tried doing events, you are probably familiar with those types of events. So it's important to do a little bit of research before going ahead and signing up and paying money to do an event, right? So let's be honest, events cost money. If you are in Scentsy business to make money, you're going to primarily work your business through parties. Events are supplements, right? Events are going to be there to help boost your sales and help get you parties. And that's really what we're talking about tonight. So working your business only through events is going to end up costing you lots and lots of money in the end of things, right? You can make money, but it's going to take an initial investment. So making sure you get into good events, contacting the coordinator, talking to other vendors who have done that event before, seeing who's going to be there, what's the expected attendance, right? If they're saying that every vendor needs to bring 10 people or something like that, that's a warning sign, guys. You shouldn't be participating in events where there's that type of agreement. You want to do events that have some type of draw and some type of attraction where you know that people are going to want to go to this event because Santa's going to be there, because they have, beer or whatever, right? I do a lot of beer festivals because they're fun, right? So doing something like that has some type of attraction other than just shopping is going to guarantee, more than likely, that it's going to be a good event. Although I have been at other ones that aren't good for another reason. So I want to go ahead and just mute everybody just in case, because that way, and you can unmute yourself at any time if you have questions, but it just makes it easier when people listen to the recording, because otherwise there's like rustling and stuff in the background. So finding good events, that's step number 1. Number 2, setting up your event. So there is a huge misconception in everybody's mind, including my mind when I did my first event, that you have to have a lot of stock to do events. Really, all you need is your starter kit. All you need is a demo warmer, some samples, a bar or two to show people what it is. You can collect orders at your events. You do not have to do cash and carry at your events. So I never, ever, ever suggest investing lots of money in stock and then trying to sell them at your events. You're going to get burned, you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to end up not being happy with yourself afterwards and not being happy with your credit card afterwards, right? So you really want to be careful with that. The proper way to do it would be to host your own party, right? Collect orders, collect free and half off items, right? Collect those hostess rewards, and then resell those hostess rewards for full price at your events. That's the best way to do it. So it might take you a few months of hosting your own parties, right? And collecting orders to gather up a lot of stock so that you can have a big display at events. So that's something that I wanted to address, because I know a lot of you are thinking, events are an easy way to get PRV, and they can be, but they take an initial investment. And the best and safest way to do it is to slowly build your stock up over months and months, where you are collecting hostess rewards by being your own hostess. When you get your setup, when you get to your space, it's always best if you can have some way to be next to or near the customers. If you create a barrier between yourself and the customers, it's not going to be as easy for you to talk to them, for them to approach you. If you have, like, say, a 10 by 10 booth, it's best to create it as an open U that they can walk into. Or if you're at a smaller vendor fair, you want to be able to stand in front of your table, not behind it, right? So you want to be able to get in front of your table so that you can actually talk to people and converse with people, because that's how the magic happens, right? Making that connection with people and actually showing them how it works. And then they might laugh or giggle. You might touch them on their shoulder, right? Or you might end up really connecting with them and giving them a hug before they walk away. So you never know what type of connection you're going to be able to make, and you want to be able to provide that type of like feeling set up with them, if by being able to be next to them. If you create that barrier, it makes that a lot more difficult. One of the other important things to do when you're at events is it's not just about networking with the people that are shopping or walking by your booth, but networking with other vendors is so important. It's almost equally as important as networking with the people who are there to shop, okay? So let me give you some examples. You get to your event early enough that you can set up and have an extra 20 or 30 minutes so that you can walk around and go to other vendor stations and talk to them. Give them a sample and a business card, right? Get their business card. That's what networking is. You want to be able to, yes, and you can get sales and orders from other vendors. That's exactly the thing, Melanie. Absolutely. So you want to be able to build relationships with other vendors, not only to get sales from them, but maybe eventually they might want to join you, right? One of my first recruits, and she's still with me today, I met her at a vendor event. She was selling scarves, and she saw how well I was selling Scentsy, and she joined my team that night, right? So you never know who you're going to meet as another vendor there that may eventually want to join your team or host a party or be a lifelong customer for you. You also want to network with the other vendors to talk to them about other vendor shows that they're doing. Because if you're in the business to work events and you know that you really want to ride the event train, you're going to talk to them about what's your next event, what type of events you do. Do you have anything going on in May? I don't really have anything in May. What events are you doing in May? You'll talk to them like that so that you can get other ideas, right? So one of the things I was doing at the beginning of this video before I started recording is I'm actually prepping for an event I'm doing this weekend. And I think it was Jess Grody that gave me this idea, but she makes these little, or somebody does, makes these little packets. Yeah, I think it's her. Makes these little packets of our product sheets. They're folded up into a little pocket. So you're literally just like folding up the bottom edge and then tucking it into itself like that. So it makes a nice little pocket. And then I put a business card and a sample in there. And so everybody who orders something from me, and of course, everything on here is labeled. My sample's labeled, my business card, obviously, and the product sheet. Everything has my label on it. Every single person that purchases from me at this event is going to get one of these in their bag, right? I want them to see all of the beautiful products that we have. I want them to have my contact information. And of course, I want to thank them for their purchase with a sample. So these go out to everybody. Having samples on hand is super important. I do not suggest having a bin at the end of your table where people can walk by and just help themselves to free samples. Been there, done that. They take it. You don't get their information. They walk away, and yeah, they have something free that might have your name on it, but more than likely they're just tossing it in a little bit, right? So you never want to just give something away without getting something back. You want to give them a sample after they've purchased from you or after you've gotten their contact information. So that is the name of the game when we're talking about events. Yeah, you'll make some money from sales. That's a given. Just like when you're at a home party, you want to be able to, have sales at a home party. That's a given. But your name of the game at a home party is to either flip the hostess or book more home parties, right? Just like the name of the game at your event is not about sales. It's about connecting, getting outside of your friends and family circle, coming home with a list of contacts, a list of leads where you can follow up with these people, develop relationships with them, book more parties, get recruits. So there's a couple ways you can do this. The best way is to use the Enter My Drawing forms. Scentsy has them in the Scentsy family store. I don't do them as a drawing. A lot of people do. They get good leads from that. That's great. It works for them. I always suggest trying what works for you. For me, I keep that little pad of paper in my little apron that I wear at events, and I whip it out when someone's about to walk away from my booth, because I say, oh my gosh, it was so great talking to you. I would love to mail you a catalog, right? I would love to mail you some more samples. Can I do that? Yeah, they never say no. And then you get their information, and then guess what? You follow up with them. I have postcards. Ooh, do I have them here? I have postcards that I mail to everybody after an event. Now, this goes back to don't spend money on your business. I'm making more money than some of you guys are because I'm a star director. So if you don't have the money in your budget to make postcards and fancy business cards right now, don't. Please don't. This is a great way to follow up, though, giving them something in the mail. This also has a link to my VIP page on it so people can join my VIP group. That's how I connect with everybody afterwards. I mail them a postcard. I send them a text message, and I email them. So they're getting it from all of these different angles. Now, not everybody gives me their email address, and not everybody gives me their phone number. So I'm going to try to contact them in as many ways as possible, as soon as possible after the event. So I had an event this past weekend, and my postcards went out yesterday for them, and I also texted everybody yesterday. Everybody that gave me a cell phone number, I texted. And I said, it was so nice meeting you. Thank you so much for stopping by my Scentsy booth at the beer festival this weekend. Here's the link to my VIP page on Facebook. I would love to stay in touch. And guess what? Everybody joined my VIP page. So now I have this big pot of people who are my number one Scentsy fans, right? These are the people who are going to be purchasing from me, booking from me, and joining my team in the future. So you want to find a way to connect with these people after the event. When you're talking with people at the event, as I said, you don't want to have that barrier between you. You want them to be able to remember you after the event. You want to have a conversation where, you know, when you talk to them again, they say, oh yeah, ha ha ha, remember that, you know, whatever you talked about, right? You want to create something memorable with every single person you talk with, even if it's just expressing what your most favorite scent is, right? Or sharing, you know, your most favorite warmer with them. That's what you want to do. That's your number one goal, creating a connection so you can follow up, build a relationship, book those parties, get those recruits further down the line. It doesn't happen immediately. It doesn't happen immediately. I can tell you this over and over and over again. The first, second, third time you message someone or follow up with someone after an event, they might completely ignore you. But the sixth, seventh, and eighth time you contact them, they might finally be ready to order or host or join. So the name of the game is not only being consistent with getting their contact information, having some way to form a connection with them. I use my Facebook VIP page, but you also want to consistently touch them. You want to consistently reach out to them and make sure you're forging that relationship. Make sure that you're reminding them, hey, it's Jamie the Scentsy girl. Remember me? We had that really great conversation 3 months ago, right? And that might sound crazy in your head, but in their head, they might think, oh yeah, you know what? I could use, you know, some new fresh spring scents now, right? Because maybe you haven't talked to them since November. So you never know when is going to be the time for them to finally respond back and jump. And I can tell you a million times, I have so many people on my team right now that joined after the 10th and 11th text message that I sent them. And they will tell you, they appreciated the fact that I was following up with them. They appreciated the fact that I was keeping on them. It just wasn't the right time for them. These were people that I met at events or met at parties. You just have to follow up. So, all right, that's the big kind of thing with events is getting people's contact information. It's not about sales. It's not about passing out samples, right? It's really about follow-up. Casey says there are stats that say the average follow-up to get someone to respond is 8 times. You have to contact someone 8 times before they respond back to you with some type of sale or question or comment or whatever. So keep that in mind as you feel like you're, you know, contacting people in vain, as you feel like, you know, you just sent all these text messages and nobody texted you back. You just sent all these emails and nobody emailed you back. Keep going. When I was at my event this time, it does take bravery. Don't be discouraged, for real. Before I did my event this past weekend, I had done this event last year. It was the Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue Festival at Timonium Fairgrounds outside of Baltimore. And I did it last year. And so what I did leading up to it is I emailed everybody who I met at that event last year. And I said, hey, it's Jamie the Scentsy Girl. I'm going to be at the Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue Festival this weekend. I would love it if you would stop by. I have a free gift for you. So guess what? I had people stopping by my booth saying, Jamie, I got your email. I'm so excited to see you, right? That's building a relationship and making a connection with these people. So guess what? I never, ever, ever would have remembered their faces from last year because I met, you meet these people for 5 seconds, but they came up to me. They recognized me because, I mailed them things. I've texted them. They're in my Facebook VIP page, and we have this connection now. And so those people that I saw for the second year in a row are asking me, are you going to be here next year? How do you get into these? They're starting to ask me those types of questions to really get into, what I do as a Scentsy person. So it's kind of a cool thing. So I want to, there we go. All right. We talked about samples. One thing you can do if you don't have electricity at your station, right? Maybe you're outside, you don't have electricity, or maybe you didn't pay up for the electricity. Electricity usually costs extra money. That's where room sprays come into play. So I usually use whatever the scent of the month room spray is, because that comes for free, and then people walk by, they smell it, and you're like, oh, this is our scent of the month, it's on special, it's 10% off, and that's an automatic upsell for that product when you're at that event. And it's great because people will smell it, and without having to get your warmers dirty and get melted wax everywhere and that type of a thing. So it is kind of a great compromise to using electricity. I already talked about wrapping up packages and putting some type of thank you in their sample product sheet. Product sheets are great for that because they're super cheap. Just stick one in there. Just make sure it's labeled, of course. You always, always, always go for booking. So whenever you're at an event, you will have, if it's a decent event, you will have a few people that come in and absolutely love Scentsy. You can see it on their face. Their face lights up. They walk by your table and they're looking for a scent. Do you have any Hemingway? Do you have any Quiver? And you know that whatever scent they're looking for is a high demand scent that you've already sold out of, right? Or it's a bring back my bar that you don't have in stock. And so I always say, oh my gosh, you are my people. You're a Scentsy connoisseur, aren't you? You know Scentsy. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, when's the last time you hosted a party? And they're like, what? I know I don't do that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I never let my favorite people pay full price. Right? I never let my favorite customers pay full price. When you sell the party like that, they're thinking, oh man, yeah, why am I paying full price, right? And then you could talk about the different options. Well, we don't have to do a home party. Look, I got this little pouch here. Bring an example of a pouch party or a basket party. I don't always suggest handing them out at events. I've done it before. I've lost them. I don't get them back. Not always. Sometimes I do. So I don't suggest giving them out at the event. But it's a great demo to show them how it works. You write down their information. You write down that they're interested in a pouch party or catalog party or Facebook party or whatever, and you follow up with them later. So that's another tool to use for booking. Something else that I do for booking, I don't think I have any here. Oh, yeah, I do. Is I made these forever ago on Vistaprint, but it's basically, and it doesn't even have a little scratch off thingy on it, but you can buy scratch off stickers on Amazon. I buy everything on Amazon. You can buy scratch off stickers. They're literally like little silver stickers, and you can put them on a business card, and you can hide something underneath of it. And this one says scratch off to reveal your prize. And again, you can put sample under there, you can put a room spray under there, you can put a warmer under there, whatever you want, right? And obviously you're using perpetual party reward for that as a little booking incentive. So on the spot, when people are saying, well, yeah, I might do a party, you say, you know what, I got something for you. Here's a scratch off card. When you're ready to host a party, go ahead and scratch it off. There's a little prize underneath. And then you call me or text me, and we'll get you hooked up with that prize and your party, right, or whatever. So you can put whatever you want on there. And again, you don't have to do anything big. You don't have to make cards like this. You can just use a plain card. Oh, here's, pick a card, any card. They pull the 5 of spades, right? Okay, when you host a party, you get any nightlight warmer in the catalog for $5. You get any 6-pack of bars for $5. You get any room spray for $5. Whatever you want, and you don't have to give things away. That means you get 5 samples when you do your party, right? It doesn't you don't have to be giving away products to get the sale. You don't have to be giving away products to get parties. You can if you want. It doesn't always help. I can tell you that, because I've offered lots of things to lots of people, and they still don't book parties. So don't feel like just because you've offered them something that you think is a great deal, it's just not the right time for them, right? You write down their name, you follow up with them, and you're consistent with it. So the most important thing ever at events, I'm trying to find, sorry, my office is in a state of chaos right now. This is my most recent stack from my most recent event, but these enter my drawing forms are gold. Use these, use a sheet of paper if you don't have them, have an email sign-up list. Again, you don't need to be spending money at these events to make money. You already paid money to be there. You're already set up. You took time away from your family to be at this event. It's really important that you maximize your time. You're going to do that by getting contacts and following up with them, engaging with people, making it memorable, making a connection, and being able to forge that connection through follow-up, through VIP groups, through texting, or whatever means you want. The workstation also allows you to email people by event. If you enter your contacts into the workstation and you type in the notes section, am I correct, Casey? You type it in the notes section what event you met them at, then you can actually sort them as at their, whichever event they did, and then you can email them directly out of the workstation. So that is a great way to do it. You could have a sample sign-up list instead of a enter my drawing form. You can just say, hey, I'm doing a monthly mailing, sample sign-up list, make sure your name's on the thing. I like to get their mailing address and their phone number though, because I do like to mail them the postcard and I do like to text or call them. So that's why I like everything. Plus, for instance, at this last event, on these enter my drawing forms, there's all of those other boxes about earning free products or, earning extra money. And so sometimes people will check those boxes without actually saying to you that they wanted to host or join. So it's always like a nice, little extra bonus. So with that said, that is everything I wanted to work through with you guys. Like I said, events are my jam. Home parties are my jam. I do events so that I can book parties. When I look at the last 10 or so parties that I've done, it's been from people that I've met at events. Why? Because I get their contact information and I follow the heck up with them as much as I possibly can. So that is the name of the game. My last few recruits have come from events. Even more than that. My last probably 10 or so recruits have come from people that I've met at events. They're not signing up at the event. They're not signing up the day after the event. They're signing up weeks and sometimes months afterwards because it takes that time to build that relationship for them to decide that they're ready, right? So you have to use all means possible to make sure that you're connecting with them as best you can. I'm at 23 minutes. You guys can unmute yourselves and ask me questions, ask each other questions. I know a lot of you, Jess and Stephanie, you guys work events. Do you guys want to add anything to what I've said?
So, you really touched on a lot of everything. I always have a rule of thumb, and I actually got this from working in retail, which is you make contact with somebody within 30 seconds of them entering your booth space. And I know that sounds really quirky, and sometimes I try to make it even less than 30 seconds, especially if it's a busy event and you're already helping somebody. You want to recognize that somebody else has entered your booth space. You don't want them to walk in and walk back out. So when I'm sitting there talking to somebody, I say, excuse me, and then I say, hi, I'll be with you in just a second. Feel free to sniff around. But making that initial contact within 30 seconds of them coming within, I say it's the 30-second, 30-feet rule, which is what we learned in Best Buy. So if you're within 30 feet of you, you say hi to them and introduce yourself, or, give them something to let them know that you see them. They're not being ignored, and that makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah, even if it's just a smile and say, hey, how you doing? Thanks for sharing that, Casey, by the way.
The other big thing that I have, and this is for tax purposes, is bring order forms with you. And every sale, you need to get a completely filled out order form. And not only that, this is an easy way to get customer contact information that you otherwise would not have gotten.
Yeah.
And I made a big mistake not doing that. Pretty different for my entire first year of doing events. And I missed out on all of those follow-up leads. I had no idea who purchased from me. So it is a huge rule of thumb. One, if you get audited, they need to see where your sales came from. So make sure that you have them and you save them. I think it's for at least 2-3 years. You have to retain them in your files.
Yeah.
So you can start a file system with those and keep them in your follow-up, because when you tear off, they get the gold and the pink copy, I believe it is. And then you have the yellow and the white copy, so you can split them off again. White copy goes in your tax retainment file, and then that yellow copy can go in your follow-up system file.
Yep. Absolutely.
Those are my two big takeaways. Always greet somebody within 30 seconds of them entering your booth. If you're not busy, obviously, you have no reason. Oh, another big thing, look like you're constantly busy and doing something.
I never just stand there. I never check my phone. I'm always sorting my
sit at an event, ever. I don't care if your knees are broken. Do not sit at an event. If they offer you a chair or provide you with one,
I never use it.
Take it and don't bring one unless you were literally on death's door. In that case, you probably should have gotten somebody to cover you.
I use the chair as like my box up station.
I just put boxes on top of boxes and make a little table that way. Do not bring a chair because you're going to be tempted to sit. And I personally, if I were walking through an event and I look back at a table and I see somebody sitting behind a table just sitting, I'm just gonna walk past.
Yep.
Like, I don't feel like you are valuing me as a customer because you're just sitting there.
I'm at the top of my booth. I'm greeting every single person that walks by with a smile. Hey, how are you? I'm not trying to say, have you heard of Scentsy before, if they're just walking by with their family. But I'll tell you what, when you do that, when you just smile, make eye contact and say, hi, how are you? It makes them do a double take into your booth. It makes them look again at what your table is and what you have. And they might say, what is this? Is this soap? I get that a lot, right? What is this stuff, right? And there you go.
One more tip. Go to Scentsy Family Store and order yourself a name tag. You get 3 of them, I believe, or maybe it was just the one. It's just the one. Get yourself a name tag. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, whether you put on your makeup, if your hair is a rat's nest. If you've got a name tag on, you look legit.
True that.
I like to flip my name tag upside down.
Yeah.
And let people say, by the way, you know your name tag's upside down. I'm like, oh, guess what? You just won yourself a sample. And then I get their information after that.
Yeah.
So
I do that too. That's great.
That's all I got.
Yay, awesome.
That's all I'm going to share with you guys.
That's awesome. Stephanie, do you have any tidbits? She's like, no. You're muted, girl.
Oh.
Whoa.
Is yours muted? Are you muted?
I'm muted.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I must be too close to Jess. So hold on. I gotta turn my phone on. Right? No. All right, here we go.
We got 2 minutes.
I know, that was crazy. So no, pretty much the same as Jess. Order forms, I make them fill them out. I highlight all my information that I need filled out. And as I'm bagging and doing all that good stuff, I'm having them fill out their own order form.
Yep.
Then reviewing it to make sure that I can read it, understand it, especially that email address. As soon as I get them, I get home and I put them all on my workstation.
Yep.
Put around, I put them in there immediately. Following up with them, contacting them, and my big thing is too is when I'm returning to the events, I'm calling my customers that I met last year, letting them know that, hey, I got the event, come by, hop in. Are you looking for anything in particular so that I can get it ahead of time?
Yeah.
But one of my big things is my booth presentation. I like having my booth staged in different heights and things in different areas to make it more appealing to the eye, because if everything is just slapped out onto, the tabletop and it's not interesting, people have to come and look over top of it. They don't want to buy anything.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is. So I try to make mine appealing as possible with different things to look at different levels. Signage
is important.
I have specials that are my specials, like real specials and bundles and stuff like that. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I have a sign that sits at the end of my booth that says, come stick your nose in my business.
Yeah, I have that. Everyone knows it.
Everybody comments on it. That's like the thing. And
they're like, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, come on in.
You guys come out from under a rock.
I know.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for sharing, Jess and Stephanie. And we are out of time. But if you have anything else to add, you can always add it to our little event page. I will post this recording as soon as I can tomorrow for everyone to watch and review. Thank you for coming. I hope it was helpful. We did cover a lot of things, but if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. Casey shared all of her things. Events don't end that day. Absolutely. Events are way harder than just doing a home party. It takes a lot more time, a lot more prep, and a lot more follow-up to make you successful at doing events. But it is possible, and you can be very successful doing it. It just takes work, just like anything. Alrighty, guys. Have a good night. See ya.
Yeah.